Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the Information Literacy unit. Today I'm going to talk about how to develop your hypothesis and how to come up with your research questions. I just briefly want to go over what we covered last time so you know exactly where we're up to in the process. So in the previous video I discussed how to pick a generic topic and then how to look at the various different subtopics or more specific topics that could sit underneath that, and so you've done that as well. And then we looked at choosing one specific topic, and so hopefully you are about up to that, have either done it or are very close to it. So today I'm just going to go over the one sentence hypothesis statement and what that is and why you need it, and then developing the two research questions, which will hopefully cover all of the parts of your hypothesis. So this is where we're up to in terms of our steps. So you overall in your research are going to come up with a hypothesis, and in your final report you will either prove or disprove this hypothesis. So you will either confirm that it's true, or you will confirm that it's kind of partially true, or that actually now you believe it's not really true. And so it's actually not a problem when you come to understand that your hypothesis was a little bit wrong or completely wrong. That's fine, because what we're mainly looking at is how well are you researching and can you draw conclusions out of the research. And so that is why in your research log you will have 6 different sources researching on this particular topic, which you'll cover with this hypothesis, and then in the final report you'll be explaining all of your research. But today we're just focusing on the hypothesis and the key questions, the focus questions. So you will remember from the previous video that one of the broad topics that I talked about was healthy nutrition, and that's just going to be my example going forward, so you can see how I'd be going through those through the research there. And so that was my general topic, and the specific slice of it that I'm going to be focusing on is the sugar tax. So remember I talked about the options, talking about vegetarian or vegan diets, and also about the option of talking about only selling healthy food at schools, but I've decided I'm going to focus on the sugar tax. And so my topic is going to be the sugar tax, and I'm going to focus on New Zealand. And so with that I have limited the focus for my topic, because the sugar tax is a really quite large topic still, and so I am wondering what the sugar tax in New Zealand might look like perhaps. And so I've just written a short list here of what I already know. And so this is just off the top of my head. I'm making an assumption that New Zealand's obesity rate is increasing, so we have got more and more people who are overweight. I am assuming that the sugar tax would make food items with higher sugar content more expensive, because that's usually what happens when we add a tax to something. I assuming that it would be a kind of a good thing to have a sugar tax, because it would discourage people from buying this type of sugary food, because it would be more expensive if we're adding a tax. And I am also assuming that the money that would be raised through the tax could then be used by the government to fund the health system. All of these are my assumptions. Okay, so I've just written down what I think I know, but I have no evidence yet. And so usually when you pick your topic, you know sort of a little bit about it, but you might not have all the evidence, and so that's okay, because all of this is still before your research. Now when you're forming your hypothesis, you are looking for a statement. So your hypothesis must be a sentence, not a question. You are making a statement that you believe is true. And so in my case, I am saying introducing a sugar tax will help reduce obesity in New Zealand. That's my assumption. I really think that if we added a sugar tax, that would perhaps help reduce the number of obese people and those who are unwell because of that. And so that's going to be my assumption going into the research. Now I can come up with my focus questions, and so I need 2 focus questions which help me guide my research, and then based on those questions I will do my research. And remember that you're trying to find opposing viewpoints, so different perspectives on the issue. looking at my focus questions, really what I want to try and do is I want to find sources or texts, articles, documentaries that answer my focus questions, and that will allow me to draw some conclusions. And so when I'm asking those questions, what I need to do is I need to ask open questions. And an open question is a question that I cannot answer with yes or no. And so questions that can't be answered with yes or no start with words like the ones that you can see on the right. So what, who, how, why, and to what extent. Those are really good ones to start your questions with, and so I'd recommend that you use those. Here's my example. So my hypothesis was that introducing a sugar tax will help reduce obesity in New Zealand. Okay, great. And so now I've come up with 2 research questions. And so I'm looking at what impact will higher cost for sugary products have on people's buying habits. And now I might not necessarily find sources on New Zealand here, so perhaps I can find an article on a country which has introduced a sugar tax, and so I can look at what was the result there. Did it actually change people's buying habits, yes or no? And then I can make some assumptions based on that and draw some good conclusions. And my second question is, how can the money generated by the tax be used by the government to tackle obesity in New Zealand? And again, I can look at really broad articles and suggestions, and I'll probably find a wide range of different sources. Now, speaking of sugary food contents, the Cookie Monster's back. And so the Cookie Monster's gonna be with us for a little while, and so the next step that you need to take is record your hypothesis and your research questions in the research log. Key bits for today are adding your name, adding your topic, adding your hypothesis, and adding your questions. In our case, we have got this on the Teams platform, and so you can see that I've created an assignment here, so you're in Teams, and then there's a new assignment here for you. If you can't see it at the bottom here, you'll be able to see it by clicking on assignments up there. So I'm just going to go new assignment. I'm just going to go into the student view, and so you should be able to see this, and you might have a button over here that says turn in, and so I'm clicking on this document here, which you will be filling in. And so the first thing I'd like you to fill in is your name. So up here you can see a button that says edit document. So you click on that, and then you just go edit in browser or edit in desktop app. You can choose either of those options. I'll just go with the browser because that will be nice and easy. And so you can put your name in here, and we're just going to go with the Cookie Monster, which is writing this particular report. And then my research topic, remember, was the sugar tax in New Zealand, and then my hypothesis, I'm just gonna copy that out of my slides, and so you can do the same once you've written yours down. That's just going to go into my Teams document here. My hypothesis is going in there. Perfect. And now I'm just going to add my 2 research questions. Remember that you don't actually have to have 3 questions. They're sort of optional. The third one is optional, but you want to have 2. That's really important. And so I'm just going to put those in here, and then I can just cut the second one out and put it in there like that. Right, so now we've got all of them in here, and I might just make that a slightly better font size so we're not so overwhelmed. Okay, and then the third one is optional. So now you can see that I've filled this in. I'm just going to make it a bit larger so you can see it properly. So I've got my name, Cookie Monster. This is my topic, generally speaking. Here's my hypothesis, specific to New Zealand. And then I've started my question, my first one with what, my second one with how, nice and open. And that's me done for this particular part. Alright guys, remember to get in touch with your teachers if you've got any questions. Just make sure that you do get in touch. We're here to help. And Otherwise, I look forward to seeing some of your hypotheses, and I will also obviously check in with you individually or in groups to see how you're going. All right, take care. Bye.